Let me know if y'all can hear me. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Somebody in the comments, let me know that my audio is clear. Okay, you can hear me? Cool. All right. Spirit want me to come on live and give you this trill spill. Okay? All right. What is demon dick really? What is demon dick really? You know, I think we talk a lot about demon dick in regards to situationships, but even beyond situationships, because I need you to understand something. A lot of modern women are situationshiping and dating for partnership, okay? And one of the biggest mistakes any woman, okay, and I want to be specific. Any woman, especially a woman who wants to live in alignment with her destiny, wants to live in alignment with her purpose, wants to live in alignment with her highest abundance and peace. Because you got to understand something. Living in your destiny and living in your purpose and living in your highest abundance and highest peace, right, takes a certain level of surrender, takes a certain level of submission to spirit in order to be able to achieve that. So one of the biggest mistakes that women make, okay, and this is so crucial because we are living in a time where there's a lot of relationship experts, there's a lot of relationship coaching that doesn't have God at the center of it. And when I say it doesn't have God at the center of it, because if it is solely trying to train you, I'm going to say train you and groom you into being a feminine so that you are likable to a man, it has already failed you. And when it is already failing you like that, it has the chance to put you in a situation where a man is in control of you over spirit and God. And that's a dangerous situation. I'm not saying, right? I want you to understand there's a difference. There is a difference. There is a difference between being in a safe situation where spirit and God has said that this person is worthy to be your teammate. I need you to understand something. Beyond the word, my man. Okay? Beyond the word, my man. When you are a spiritual, sovereign woman with a destiny and a purpose, you have to be thinking bigger, bitch, than my man. Because some of the women that have very large destinies are concerned only about the superficiality of my man, and not understanding that it is a mismated alliance. And I want to highlight the word alliance. The worst thing a woman put on this earth by God to do something great can do is be in a mismated alliance. Okay? I learned that shit the hard way, but better sooner than later in my last situationship. You gotta understand something, right? When I think about something being equally yoked, right? I'm gonna tell you this. My yolk, okay? My yolk, and if we want to use a fucking egg as an example, okay? The white of my yoke is my light. And the center, the yoke, is God. So the center of this pussy is God, baby. And the white and the external is my light. And sometimes we allow ourselves to mismate with the enemy that has been infiltrated not only with darkness on the outside and the inside, but doesn't even have God at the fucking center of it. And so, you know, people don't realize that beyond just men, we do this in friendships, right? Where I'm getting to the bigger point is that we're worried so much about being likable, okay? The moment I surrendered to spirit, I had to start recognizing where I cannot give a fuck about being likable. Because I am a prophetic bitch, okay? I'm a prophetic bitch. I'm a prolific bitch. And when you are a prophetic, prolific bitch, put on this earth to be an oracle and a vessel of spirit, and to go amongst the fucking flock and create a fellowship, and to cast out your seeds and fucking bear fruit, you're going to have to stop worrying about being likable. Because sometimes when you get to dating or trying to align with a suitable alliance, you'll realize these motherfuckers don't even like themselves. Okay? Not only do these men that want to date you don't fucking like themselves, some of these people that you want to be friends with don't like themselves. So the problem is, a lot of people, when they are looking to not only achieve a situation or a partner or friendship or create healthy relationships, the first thing they go into that shit trying to do is being likable. See, when you understand yourself as a spirit, when you're making first impressions that are based on alignment, you are not masking under the guise of being fucking likable. You are asking yourself, is this person a helpmate? Is this person a teammate? Or is this person an enemy to my motherfucking progress? And when you start really thinking that way, you're going to realize you could either get with it or get lost. You could get with it or get stomped. But either way, I'm going through. See, I had to learn one of the biggest things in my last situation was that as a woman of God, I cannot be with a person that does not have God in them. And again, you have to understand, there's a lot of people, and men specifically, that are not believers of God. They are believers of other fucking men. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's a more umbrella thing. Like, people in general are more at times believers of man and their fellow man than believers of God. And I had to come to the point where I had to understand, I'm a bitch that when I walk in a fucking room, people see God. Okay? I make people a fucking believer. And so if I approach a man who wants to be with me and wants to be my helpmate, okay? You understand? Be my helpmate. See, a lot of times indoctrination and a lot of patriarchy has misled women to believe that we should be the only ones concerned about being a helpmate to these motherfuckers, when so many women have come into feminine leadership over the past 10 years. Motherfucker, can you help me? Can you help me? Are you my helpmate? Are you my teammate? My last situation, I had to realize that I was with the fucking Judas. I was with the fucking Judas. I was with the motherfucker that would sell my head for fucking 30 pieces of fucking silver because he didn't know his fucking self. That motherfucker was willing to put me on a crop. Ooh, I'm gonna get emotional and mad at the same time, because that feminine, you have to understand this shit. You have to understand this shit. The path of the spiritual woman is so profound. And I need women right now to transform their pain into power, because some of y'all go through these trials and these crucifixions and these betrayals in your life because of this. You know, some of y'all women have to understand that your spiritual journey is just like that. That sometimes you got somebody in your camp. You have to understand this. Somebody in your camp does not mean necessarily they are on your fucking team. You know, that's why I do appreciate at times when men get into sports and they get into the politics of it and they get into all this shit where they're like, you know, they're vocal about when they don't fuck with people on their team. They like, trade that motherfucker out, whatever. And as women, you have to think about that, because there are times where your ultimate betrayals come in this fashion, to not only trust your intuition, but to trust yourself, not to be controlled by wanting to be likable under somebody who has the darkness in them and doesn't even have God. I remember looking after my breakup and looking at this motherfucker have the audacity to put on his fucking profile, God first. Motherfucker, please. Motherfucker, please. A motherfucker who's always concerned about everybody liking him and like, motherfucker, please, God first. This is why yesterday I seen this quote that says, when you pray with somebody, make sure sometimes you pray twice in case God is not fucking with them. And I learned that in my last situation, because let me tell you, I pray all the time to my Orishas, my Egun, God. And the moment I really had it in my heart where I said, God, I feel like I'm plateauing. I feel like I'm getting to this space where, like, I feel like I need the next level. And I'm always praying, God, Spirit, Orisha, Egun, allow me to see my enemies coming and going. And I remember praying with such conviction that I felt it. I was like, oh, something about to come up with this motherfucker. And I remember at times being adamant about, yo, let us pray together. And even in, let me tell you something. This is where you have to really get in tune with your own personal relationship with God, your individual relationship with God and Spirit, because even though at times motherfuckers can make a prayer sound good, go pray for yourself again. Because that spiritual discernment and that intuition, God, you have to understand something about healthy relationships. Although you want to come to this place where you believe in your teammates, you should never get to a place in your life where you believe in your teammates more than you believe in yourself and your relationship with God. Period. Because the moment you start getting too fucking comfortable, the moment you start getting too fucking comfortable, right? And you feeling too safe, where you put too much trust, into the safety and the umbrella of a prayer of another man, another person, before you double check with yourself and God, that's where the trickery lies. That's where the trickery lies. That's where the demons lie. Because some of y'all have to understand that the way that the enemy of your progress learns to control you is when you get comfortable in that likability and that approval and that safety of putting people before your relationship with self and God. Point blank, period. So what happens is the real revelation of demon dick is laying up with a motherfucker that takes you out of your highest self, your highest power, and your highest truth in order to be laid up with them. And that's why I do not fucking believe. And that's why I tell people my last situation wasn't a mistake, because I went into it being like, this is who the fuck I am. I'm a prophetess. I am a priestess. I am a believer. I am yoked, and I am fucking dressed in not only the cloth of fucking spirit, but the fucking armor of spirit. Okay? And where I fucked up, because as women we have to take accountability, is not trusting my intuition in situations where spirit was telling me, bitch, you not wrong about this motherfucker. You not wrong about this motherfucker. You not wrong. But the problem is at times we see the red flags and think we can change a motherfucker later. And that was my bad, because Ifa Santeria has told me, if that man is not religious or spiritual, he can do nothing for you. If that man is religious or not spiritual, he can do nothing for you. He is unequally yoked for you. But at the same time, I cannot be with a man either that thinks he can control me through his religiousness or his spirituality. So at times, that's a hard place for us as women to be, in our own leadership and in our own relationship with spirit and God, because you need to be at a place where they got enough God and spirit in them that they can commune with you and fellowship with you, so you can be on the same fucking team, but at the same time not let yourself be controlled. But the problem is that as women, it's been tricky in history and with patriarchy and misogyny, that we've been tricked by demon dick that uses religion and spirituality to control us, and then at the same time uses their darkness also to do the same shit. So that's a tricky situation to be in. I do not subscribe to a man being the head of me. I do not subscribe to a man being the head of the house. Motherfucker, there's two captains on this ship. I believe in equality in my relationship. I believe in equality in my friendships. I believe in equality amongst human fucking beings. Okay? I am not under the control. So, again, demon dick to me is a bigger concept and theory, not even just in dating, but in the way we allow wanting to be intertwined and entangled with other people, where we want to feel loved and we want to feel liked and we want to be, intimate, and we want to be, what's the word? Let's just stop at intimate. We want to be all these things with people, but we lead with first wanting to be liked. I'm sorry. Wanting to be liked first when you are a spirit-led being, to me, it's just masking. It is masking. Either you with my mission or not. You either with what I'm sent here for or not. And that shit's not personal. That shit is not fucking personal. So when you have a codependency, or you have an obsession with wanting to be loved, you will do anything to be penetrated by other people, right? To have people in your space and in your aura and in your energy, to the point where you like, well, damn, how did I end up in this situation where I'm fucked? So I, again, do not subscribe to dating advice, networking advice, all that shit that first says that you need to be likable or whatever in order to find suitable alliances. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather be difficult under the protection of God and spirit than to be coddled in the hands of mine enemy, so that they can later crush me. For what? For why? You know what I'm saying? We are at such a crucial time in humanity. Let me tell you, baby, what a fucking time to be alive. 2023, my theme song has been Drake Big Rings, okay? Because when I say I got a really big team and we need some really big things, okay? It's you and yours versus me and mine, okay? So when you see me out here acting a little bit villainous, real cutthroat, real future-like, real scorpionic, right? Where it's like, I'm good, love, and joy. It's because my focus is on the big rings. And what a time it is to be a fucking live as a woman. Okay? As a big pussy, as a big front, having woman in a time where we are breaking fucking barriers that haven't been fucking broken in centuries. So asking me to ease up off a motherfucker's neck to be likable, so their little demon dick having ass consider me more feminine under his whack ass fucking non-God knowing unbeliever ass. Fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that. You know, yesterday I commented on my girl, the Slumflowers post, because she is somebody out here really empowering the girls. She got a lot of men mad. She got a lot of women mad too. They call her the Thanos of this shit. And I had to give my sis her flowers because I said, what a time it is to be alive, to be in alliance and witnessing my fellow goddesses as we rise in this iconicness, okay, in our ranks together in order to fight a war that has been imposed on the goddess, the oracle, the priestess, the prophetesses for a very long time. The slum flower, slum, S-L-U-M. What a time to be alive. You know, and someone just commented, even the men are becoming more feminine. When we look at the polarity of masculinity and femininity based on understanding spirituality, yes, I can see that there are a lot of men becoming more feminine in a positive way, where they are being connected to their divine feminine because they are being broken down to work through things that they have to honor their external feminines in a way that shows reverence to themselves. But also, yes, there is a lot of sassiness and bitch-assness that has occurred because we have made men feel comfortable for too long. Because we want to be likable by them. You know, one thing I said recently in my Unbound Priestess Masterclass, and if you want that, you could cop that. Email me if you want a copy of it, thetrapwitch@gmail.com, is that men have found a way to make God this man that women have to obey in the sense where they have created this illusion of what that representation should look like. And they have further imposed that in making themselves always the head of fucking everything, and then projecting onto us that we are misrepresentatives of them. That motherfucker wasn't even a partner. My last situation. One of the ways he tried to deceive me was at one point being like, oh, you know, I don't want people that I work with to see your page because like what I represent and blah, blah. And I had to check that motherfucker. I had to check that fool, okay? Because he tried to say the Trap Witch was not a family-friendly brand when we out here breaking ancestral trauma. We breaking ancestral trauma. I'm sorry you can't recognize what family-friendly, what's really good for the hood, what's really good for the trap, what's really good for the collective looks like. And at that time, he was working under an artist who's a very popular artist in rap. And I had to check that motherfucker and be like, and that motherfucker is? And list all the reasons in which they aren't good for necessarily the collective or healing ancestral trauma. And I said, listen, motherfucker, before I knew you, I was the Trap Witch. And I knew my calling. I knew who I was. I know how I get this money. I know how I am changing the world, and I know my destiny and my purpose. And I am not going to change. I am not going to compromise on this, because if you ever leave me, if I ever leave you, if I ever am in a situation where we don't work, this is what I'm going to have afterwards. That's why my Orisha, my Egun, my relationship with God, and what it has given me in alignment with my mission, it's unnegotiable. It's non-negotiable. I'm not willing to compromise on it. Because guess what? Like I said, this motherfucker was willing to put my head on a block, make me look bad, drag me through the mud, have people fucking talk, have other bitches talking to me crazy. Okay? When people talk about, like, JT from the City Girls yesterday said, there's a bitch I want to take to Lake Lanier. And I understand that darkness. I have a sister in community that when her man took her for a blood clot fool too, right? She exhibited that darkness, and we're both Aquarius, and I get that. And for those of y'all who don't know what Lake Lanier is what we call Death Lake out here in Georgia, baby, because a lot of people don't make it on that lake because it was a black town that was flooded, and the people were ran out, and the houses in the community are still down there. It's a man-made lake, and so they often say that the spirits of the ancestors are very prominent on that water, and they take no prisoners. So yesterday when JT posted, there's a bitch I want to drop in Lake Lanier, there's a bitch that I would take to Lake Lanier, I understand. There's some other, listen, if I wasn't so discerning and aware, and my third eye wasn't open, I would not understand that these are lessons. These are lessons of the spiritual awakening to activate your power. But the demon dick, the darkness, wants you to get to a place where you become self-destructive and act out in violence and aggressive to the point where you will destroy yourself in order to forget and get out of alignment with your mission. So when I tell you, baby, if in another life, I'm quite sure I would have dropped a motherfucker in Lanier with some cement shoes. And I need people to understand that when you're a light worker it doesn't mean you not with the shits. Baby, I'm with the shits. I'm a dark motherfucker. Like Drake said, I'm light skinned, but I'm still a dark. And I need people to understand that. Spirit and God didn't build me for this mission just because I'm all love and light. And like Erykah Badu said, baby, I am tea and incense, but I will turn into Colt 45 as a fucking Newports real quick. And what I recognized in that last situation I was in, he took me to that place. He took me to that place where I was getting to the point where I wanted to 10-piece lemon pepper his ass and he might end up in Lake Lanier. You want to talk about how bitches end up on Snapped? Because they fuck with that demon dick. They fuck with a motherfucker who ain't got God. Let me tell you something. A man that truly has God in him and likes himself don't take you through that darkness. He don't take you through those valleys. He doesn't take you to a place of destruction. You hear me? The moment you start fucking with a motherfucker and you see yourself going to this place, and I need you to understand this, because again, as women, we need to be accountable. There's a different type of self-destructiveness that's built on a lack of self-love and a lack of control and a lack of having done your shadow work and your trauma work, and then getting to a place of healing, and a motherfucker takes you back to a place where you've elevated beyond. What I started realizing was this was a trial where a motherfucker was taking me back to a place that I said I had elevated beyond. And I used this as a reference before, where in the spiritual journey, there's levels. And I call it Jerry Springer, Maury, and Super Soul Sunday, baby. And a lot of us, we've been on those fucking Jerry Springer type episodes in our life, okay? Where it's the Jerry Springer show. And then Maury, you know what? Maury's a step up. Maury's a little bit more, you know, like a little bit more refined. It's a little bit more well presented. It's a little less messy, you know, but it still has the potential to go left real quick. But Maury gonna keep it a little bit more professional. It's a step up. But then when you get to Super Soul Sunday level, where it's like on the OWN network, and they give you a whole hour special for yourself, and you in the backyard, under the tree, in the soft light, they got you lit right. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's another level. Someone said Dr. Phil. Yeah, Dr. Phil's like, yes. Thank you. We're going to add Dr. Phil into the roster. So before we can get to Super Soul, maybe it might be Dr. Phil or Dr. Phil or even Ayanla, where it's like, it's really that intervention, right? You're really getting to that place of intervention where spirit is really trying to intervene so you could get to that Super Soul Sunday level, okay? What I recognized in my last situation was that I was graduating to the point where I was on Super Soul, with occasionally dipping back into Dr. Phil, and this motherfucker was trying to take me back to Jerry Springer. Okay? Trying to take my ass back to Jerry Springer. Because this motherfucker had me wanting to pound out fucking car windows and slash tires and fucking drop his ass in Lake Lanier with cement fucking blocks. But again, when we operate out of spiritual intelligence, we have to recognize, baby, it's because this mother don't have God. It doesn't have God in them. They don't know themselves. How you gonna let a motherfucker that don't know God and don't know themselves take you to that place? And that's where you got to get comfortable with leaving people where they're at. With leaving people where they're at. And being like, nah, that's that demon dick. That's that demon dick. And, you know, for me, I was like, you know, I think the real definition of demon dick is not even being sprung on a motherfucker that got good dick. Okay, I've met motherfuckers that had good dick. Okay, let me tell you, I've met motherfuckers that have had good dick that don't take me to that place, because it is what it is. It's just some good dick. And I'm a woman that I've always been really good at keeping dick. Okay, it's a dick. Like, it's a dick. I know where to draw the lines. But I have found that the worst thing that's truly demon dick is being in a relationship with somebody who you lay with and you're trying to build partnership with, and their energy, lack of knowledge, lack of self, lack of God, is trying to penetrate your yoke and cause a disruption in your spirit and your mission. That's the real motherfucking definition of demon dick. And people that carry that energy can transcend into your fucking friendships too. You know, it goes back to the saying, you lay down with dogs, you wake up with motherfucking fleas. Right? That's why when I started getting these downloads at the end of last year, where I was like, I ain't on this gutter rat shit. Like, I'm not on this like sewage level gutter rat shit. And I just kept saying that over and over again, right? And so when it finally all came to the surface of my situation that I was in, I was like, thank you, God, for graduating me from trying to be with fucking King Ratigan. Yo, one of my favorite movies growing up was The Great Mouse Detective. I feel like that's such a scorpionic child movie. I don't know if you ever heard of that movie, but it was an animated movie. I think it is Disney. But like, to me, that shit was like a little dark. And the villain in that movie was Ratigan, King Ratigan. And I realized that Spirit was like, bitch, you have all these downloads about rats and fucking gutter rats, and like King Ratigan was like the king of the fucking sewer rats. Like the king of the sewer rats. And you know, there's often this saying, it's like, when you're getting to a place where you're in the palace, you don't want somebody to take you back to the pits. Baby, like if you've graduated from the pits, you want somebody to keep you in the palace. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about seek ye first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and all other things will be added onto you, I need you to understand it's not even necessarily about morality or morality politics. Because let me tell you something, I'm a moral motherfucker. I'm a moral motherfucker. What someone considers moral may be up for translation, but I know that in the past 7 years in which I have accepted the calling to be in mission, firstly to women. Let me tell you something. When I crowned and when I initiated as a priestess of Oshun, okay? As a priestess of Oshun in 2019, in conjunction with Shango, because Shango is my father, two very royal energies, you know, masculine and feminine. Oshun, an Orisha of divine femininity and flow and abundance and all of these things, right? And just so people know, like, Oshun is not those things because she's some docile, feminine bitch who wears yellow and sprays herself in perfume. But it's because she has overcome a lot of human suffering that women have to endure. And so when Oshun is your guardian angel, when she is your guardian angel, and that is the Orisha that has been seated on your head in this lifetime, that's a heavy burden. That's a heavy burden because Oshun's daughters especially do not have it easy. That's a crown, baby, that if you don't know how to hold your fucking neck, it will crush it. That's a crown. If you don't know how to wear it, it will crush your spirit. Because some of the trials of the daughters of Oshun are the hardest, especially when it comes to men. And although Oshun is my crown, I'm Shango's baby. I'm my daddy's little baby through and through. Like, he talks to me more than Oshun does. And a lot of my energetic makeup, and for those of you who don't know, he was the king of earth. He was a great king. When his ego was suffering, though, and his ego was hurting, he became very destructive. He could be a womanizer. He could be quick to fight or just want to fight. And I have many of those qualities that I've had to learn to overcome, and I'm still overcoming. So there is a huge spirit of divine masculinity that I carry as a feminine leader that has come to this earth to also be refined with the sweetness of Oshun and the love and the compassion, so I don't drop motherfuckers in Lake Lanier. Because I can tell you that the last lifetime I probably did. That's why I came back. And I'm here to help a lot of women not end up on Snapped. A lot of women not end up in the hole, in the grave. You know, I was having a conversation. I've had many conversations with a lot of my homegirls over the past year that I've been doing this healing since my last uncoupling. And they're like, bitch, the average bitch that went through what you went through would be in the hole right now. She'd probably be locked up or be in the hole. But Oshun has saved me. Oshun has made me cognizant. Spirit and God has made me cognizant of what lessons my spirit has chosen to initiate through and to be activated through, so that I can teach other women. I am in a time where I do not give a fuck about being likable as a woman, because I have come here to prepare so many women for this next level of our initiation. A lot of these feminine leadership, feminine coaches are out here not preparing women for the war on women that's about to start. It's been started, but it's about to ramp up. You have to understand there's a certain level of conversations happening right now where men are really showing their ass, where they're like, what are y'all still fighting for? Or what's this? What's that? And when you recognize the amount of energy still in this world causing harm to women, and then we further perpetuate it because we think we're fucking weak. I'm not here to be a likable woman. I am a disruptor in the skin of a woman. I'm not here to be a decent woman. I'm a disruptor in the skin of a woman. Period. You know what I'm saying? Like someone said, I'm not here to be meek. That's a realization I really had to sit with in the past 2 months, because I found myself getting a little too meek and a little too modest. And I have to recognize that some of this meekness and modesty that I was taking on is truly not mine. As a kid, I was not meek and modest. I was traumatized, and I was also indoctrinated to be meek and modest. And I finally don't have a problem with saying that I'm not a meek person and I'm not a modest person. I'm not a humble person either. And I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop. Like, I'm a loving person. I'm a compassionate person. I'm an empathetic person. But a lot of us are living in a time where we have to understand that certain people just want to humble you so that you can be controlled. And they want to humble you so you can sit down. They want to humble you so that they can be the gifters of your confidence. God and myself gift me with my confidence. That's why, as people, every time you're in a situation where you feel your confidence being disruptive, okay? you feel your confidence be disrupted, you need to check in with yourself and God. So initially we started off this conversation about first impressions, right? First impressions. When we are allowing people to court us, when we are allowing people to get to know us, when we are allowing people to meet us, baby, don't put on the fucking mask. We are in future mask off season, bitch. Like, 2023 has been a huge dropping of the mask once and for all for a lot of people, because there's still remnants of the mask that are causing especially a lot of women to still see themselves incorrectly. Baby, take the mask off. You're not going to be able to find your teammates. You're not going to be able to find your people if you're looking at yourself with the mask on, and you're fucking allowing people to rebuild a mask on your face that it's time to take the fuck off. If you find yourself having to mask in order to be likable or to impress people or for them to be in your company, again, there's a difference between being someone who has to learn to play well with others. What I've come to learn for a very long time is, bitch, I play well with others. I do. I don't play well with others when they ask me to compromise in order to be likable or digestible. Which, in that case, they could fucking choke. Especially men. You could suck my dick. You know, I had a reading at the beginning of this year, and the lady, she told me, she was like, she read me for Phil. She was like, Mija, let me just tell you, like, she was like, you need to stop apologizing for your nuts. She looked at me, she goes, I know you're a woman. She's like, but you have nuts. You have cojones, okay? And she's like, you have to stop apologizing for your nuts. You need to grab your nuts and you need to take them in your hands and be like, these are my nuts. And if they don't like it, tell them to suck your nuts. Tell them to suck your dick. As a woman, I still carry a lot of masculine energy. And my feminine energy is very masculine. Okay? Because she's a warrior. And there's lots of women that are out here that are warriors. Okay? We are these goddesses reincarnated. Okay? Warrior goddesses. Do y'all ever think about how even men, I'm going to say weak ass men, only like to compare women to warriors when it's to fucking go to war for them or be maybe like a mother, but not for themselves? And so then in other cases, we have to be a docile goddess, right? And I also recognize as women, you all gotta stop going to war for men who don't even go to war for them fucking selves. Like, if you don't appreciate me at my Kali Ma for myself first and for my mission, I can't bring her out for you in any other circumstance. I am not a bitch in this good year of 2023 that wants to cover, wants to defend, wants to protect any man who thinks that he can hide behind my fucking skirt and that my warriorness is only for him to take advantage of. You know, in one of the last interactions I had with my last situation, because he did try to intimidate me, because listen, that motherfucker knew that I was going to Taylor Swift Beyonce his ass and turn my pain not only into power, but my coin, because this is how I make my living, is by telling my story too, because a huge part of my destiny. Sometimes people's destiny is not to share their personal story, but mine is. I'm supposed to inspire people through my own personal story. So that motherfucker knew he was going to get Beyonce, Taylor Swift, and so he thought he could intimidate me after the fact. And he was like, remember when you called me a sociopath and a narcissist, that you put husband and father in the end? Okay, with the fucking child you conceived through being deceptive, and the bitch who knew about me and still, anyway, right? So I said to him, I said, well, when you talk about the trap witch, remember the same anger that you are upset about right now that's being directed at you was the same warrior wrath that you loved so much when it defended you, protected, and provided for you when nobody else did. When your business was sucking and suffering, when your friendship sucked and suffered, like she was the all great oracle, the great advice, the great defender, the great protector, the great provider when it was at your advantage. Right? When it felt like it was within your control. So again, as women, sometimes you have to present her straight up from the bat and present your warrior gods, present your Kali Ma, present, your Oya, present your Athena, present her from the beginning, because baby, if you don't love me at my Oya, you cannot love me at my Oshun. Okay? And Oshun is a warrior goddess too. Don't get it twisted, baby. I'm both a goddess of love and a goddess of war. You can be both. You can be both at the same time. But as women, what you have to understand, you get yourself in a demon dick situation, not telling a motherfucker, hey, there's a war out here right now, and I'm in these ranks. You want to talk about being held down? Like, we talk about, back in the day where, a lot of more men went to war, and, women holding it down. But like, we're really in a time where there's a lot of women leading this war, right? Right now, we in these trenches and we in these ranks. And we have to ask people outright and up front, like, are you willing to be in the ranks with me? Are you willing to be in the war with me? And again, the worst thing you can do is invite the enemy, invite a person who's not in the alliance into your camp. Baby, it's an op. It's a fucking op. Okay? It's a mole. It's a infiltration. And that is literally the path and the initiation and the activation of the highest ranks of some of the prophetesses and the priestesses out here right now. Okay? Baby. Yes, I will save this live, and what I would appreciate dearly, greatly, for all 133 of you watching, if as many of you can drop a comment immediately after it posts and share it. I would appreciate that tremendously. That would help me greatly. Let's see. Okay, so the only questions were about saving the life. That's cool. Okay, so I'm gonna get off here. And I'm going to go about the rest of my day. Tomorrow I'm having a full moon circle online. It's going to be cute. It's going to be great. It's really going to be a beautiful space for us as goddesses to love on each other and celebrate each other as we're in this fall equinox and going into the rest of the year. And I'll do a reading and I'll do a meditation, and we can talk and we can commune whilst looking beautiful or just feeling sensual and lovely together. So go to my page and look at the pinned post if you want to join us. It's going to be great. You know, I would love to have you guys in there so we can still bask in this energy. Right now, more than ever, women need to commune. We need to be together in the ranks of other women that are focused on this mission and this self-love. And, you know, we are, there's a huge amount of us that are in this Woman King era. Yes, it's on Zoom. You know, we're in this Woman King era. And, you know, being in this Woman King era is not about indefinitely being unpardonable. It's about knowing your worth. It's about knowing your worth, and it's about knowing that you need to be with counterparts that trust that woman king in you, that trust that priestess in you, that trust that oracle. And there's so many of us that have that wound. We have these witch wounds. We have these priestess wounds where it is very isolating and it is very lonely as you are out here in the ranks going towards war, right? But again, sometimes war has to be fought for there to be peace. And there's not going to be as much peace for women, especially in the relationship of love, until we really get in these communities with one another and we advocate for one another. And we make it very uncomfortable for our male counterparts not to elevate. So I would love to have you guys there tomorrow. You know, I'm going to allow you guys to bring a drink. Please don't come fucking drunk. Don't be a lush. But like, I want to start switching up my spaces, and I want to be doing this in person too. I'm going to start traveling in a minute again and doing some of these spaces in person so we can love on each other in person. You know, but come through tomorrow. It's going to be from 9 to 12 East Coast time, 6 to 9 p.m. West Coast time. I'm sorry to my UK baddies and to my over the pond baddies for this one, that it was kind of late. Spirit told me to do it at night. I'll do another one that's more in the day. So come fuck with us, you know. Come and be in that goddess energy. So I would love to have you. Yeah, and if someone says, how do we do online? Okay, Arizona, cool. Yeah, go to my page, look at the top 2 pinned posts. The details are in there. I know UK baddie, I'm sending you love. So yeah, it's all on my page. 2 pinned posts for the info for tomorrow night's full moon circle. Excuse me, not tomorrow, Friday. I'm sorry, Friday night. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, not Thursday. So Friday. Yeah, Friday night. I would love to, yes, I would love to have y'all in there. But, you know, too, if for those who don't come, if you want the replay, hit me up for the replay. You know, I do my best to make things accessible where they are accessible. But even UK baddies, if you want to take, like I said, if you want to take a disco nap, if you want to go to bed early and take a disco nap and wake up and come fuck with us, that's a good idea too. You know, that might be a good day too. So who knows? Lastly, my books are still open. First come, first serve. As I go into the new year, I'll continue to change things with how I work. If you are somebody who needs support, you need a safe space, non-judgmental, to work through any of the things that you might be needing, self-love, relationship, friendships, your business, your just getting to your most empowered self and working through your shadow work, by all means, thetrapwitch.com. My rates are literally still very accessible at this moment. So thetrapwitch.com if you want to fuck with that. I have 30 seconds remaining on the clock because literally Instagram is counting me down now. So I'm sending you guys love. Happy Wednesday. I love you all. Thank you for those that came in, and I will be posting this to the page. Please share, please like, please comment, so this message can get to the right people. Take care.